Number 15 of the giant examination board reads, using a graph, determine the wanted region formed by the inequalities given below. The inequalities are x is less than or equal to 6, x is more than or equal to 2, y is less than or equal to 4, and x plus 2y is more than or equal to 6. So we are given 4 inequalities, and that we need to draw a graph, and then we show the wanted region that is satisfied by the given inequalities. This is Vision Plus, and we have a detailed video explanation of the topic linear inequality and programming. To continue here, the first inequality is x is less than or equal to 6. And let us do the analysis of each of the given inequalities one by one. So for the inequality x is less than or equal to 6, number one thing that we need to know, this is going to be a straight line. So one fact is it will be a straight line. And the straight line will be in the form x equals to 6. We simply change the inequality symbol to equal sign just for us to analyze it better. So our x equals to 6. So this is a straight line that cuts, right? It cuts the x-axis at 6. It cuts x-axis at that number 6. And if you look at it here, x is less than or equal to 6. So since x can be equal to 6 or x is less than 6, then our line becomes a solid line. It is a solid line, solid or thick line, or continuous. Actually, this is the main thing. It should be a continuous line. What do you remember? We said if it is less than or equal to, or if it is more than or equal to, this one is a solid line or continuous. It is a continuous line. But if it is less than or it is just more than, this one is a dotted line. Dotted or discontinuous line. We have explained that in our video on this topic. Or discontinuous line. So this is how we get the lines. These are the lines, these are the inequalities, and that is the nature of their lines. So for x is less than or equal to 6, we have said it is a straight line, and x is equal to 6. That means it cuts the x-axis at point 6, and then it is a solid line or continuous line simply because it is less than or equal to in the same inequality. That is the analysis for that. And then the next inequality is x is more than or equal to 2. Yeah, be patient here. We may take time, but it is very important that we have a basic understanding of this part. And for the next inequality, the first fact is that it is a straight line. Actually, all the inequalities that you'll be given will always be straight lines. They will always be straight lines unless otherwise. But for this level, we deal basically with the straight lines of inequality and linear programming. What is the next thing here? We shall assume that the line is x equals to 2. So the line is cutting the x-axis at 2. I've written here straight lines, but should be straight line specifically for that, yes. And then we have said it cuts the x-axis at what? At position or at point 2. And then look at the inequality. It is more than or equal to. So it falls in our first rule. So there, it is a solid line or it is a continuous line. Continuous line. And here we mean that the line, if we say here continuous, like that is the line. But if we say dotted or discontinuous, then the line is like this. It is dotted line in that manner. So we have done the one for the second inequality. For the third inequality, y is less than or equal to 4. For the third inequality, y is less than or equal to 4. Y is less than or equal to 4. Let me confirm. Yes. So what are the properties of this line? The first property is that it is a straight line. I'm doing this for your review and say that when I explain the graph, you have a basic understanding. And then this is a line y equals to 4. Why? Because here there is y, not x. So the line y equals to 4, it means the line cuts the y-axis now. It cuts the y-axis at point 4. Basically that. And what is the next property? It is less than or equal to, and therefore it is a solid line or it is a continuous line. It is good for you to do separate analysis like this. What is a continuous line? And then finally, the last inequality is x plus 2y is more than or equal to 6. X plus 2y is more than or equal to 6. Let me confirm. Yes. Now for this line, for the lines that we have been doing, you have seen that we were straightforward. The only variable was either x or y. Like here in the first case, our variable here was x. In the second case, it was x. In the third case, it was y. So that's why we're going straight, as we have seen. But the next inequality has x and it also has y. So what do we do? What we do here is we get table of results. Get table of results. And what we do, as I've said, we change the inequality symbol to equal sign just for the analysis. So we shall have here x plus 2y equals to 6. And you can see that this is a straight line, okay? But this line is not vertical and is not horizontal. It is slanted. It has a gradient. Yes, and in this case, you can see our gradient, if we rearrange, would be a -1. It has a negative. It will be a -1/2 anyway. But that is not your analysis, because equation of straight line is y equals mx plus c. So if we make here y the subject of the formula, then our y becomes 6 out of 2 minus x out of 2. So our gradient is the coefficient of xm. So our m is a -1/2. But that is not your task. Your work here is to tabulate your results in a table. Just change the inequality to equal sign, and therefore we shall have our x here, our y here. Remember, this is a straight line, and for a straight line, 2 points on the line are enough for you to note other properties of the line. So after coming up with your table in this manner, then you decide for the values of x. Okay, someone can decide for the values of y. It is fine, but since my inequality here started with x, I'm going to assume the values of x, but someone can also assume the values of y. So if x is 0, please choose values. These are the input values of x. Now what are the output values of y? I've chosen x as 0. If x is 0 here, then I will have 0 plus 2y equals to 6. Therefore my y here becomes 3. So here you just write 3. You don't need to waste time here. And then you choose any other value of x. Remember, the values of x that you are choosing are the ones that will give you the right or reasonable value of y. Someone here cannot choose a value of x and say, may I want my x to be 10,000. It is fine, you can use 10,000, but how will you plot it? You will suffer. You need to get a scale that will compress 10,000 to as small as the values like 6 and the rest. So choose reasonable values that you can plot anyway. Any value that you can plot is fine. You get the same answers as any other person who has chosen smaller values. Saving time, I'm going to choose here my x as 2. So that if my x is 2, I will have 2 plus 2y equals to 6. If you make y the subject here, y becomes 2. So if x is 2, y is also 2. So these are the values of x and the values of y. So for us to plot this inequality, we need to plot the following points. So the points that we are going to plot for that number are points 0 and 3 and the point 2 and 2. Those are the points that we are going to plot. That is 1. And again, the other properties are the same. It is a straight line. So this is one fact. Another fact is that it will be a straight line. It will cut the x-axis and the y-axis and the points that we have deduced here. So, and it is a solid line simply because it is more than or equal to. So it is a solid line or continuous line or continuous line. Choose one and get yourself familiar with it. So this is the overall analysis of the inequalities that we were given in number 15a that we need to represent on a graph. So let us now go to the graph.